Hi everyone, I wanted to make a short video showing the operation of the idle air control valve from a 22RE engine. This is from my 1987 Toyota 4Runner, part number 22230-35010. The factory service manual talks about this valve, refers to it as air valve in the fuel injection section. FI 58 and FI 59 are the page numbers, and there's a couple basic tests that you can perform to determine if it's working, and you can also make an adjustment on it. The basic purpose of this thing is when it's cold, when the engine's cold, it allows air from the front side of the throttle body butterfly to bypass into the plenum, creating basically a vacuum leak that will raise the idle of the engine. Once you remove it from the vehicle and you remove the 4 screws on the front cover here, this is what you'll find inside. So inside, these are the components you'll find: a spring, a moving door, a bimetallic strip, and a stop, which also function as the adjustment. On the outside, you've got the water ports, you've got the adjustment screw here, and you've got the electrical connection here, which provides 12 volts to the coil surrounding the bimetallic strip. So this unit's been sitting at about 68 degrees for a while, room temperature, and you can see there's a slight opening in the door where vacuum would pass through, and you can see that the vacuum door tab is up against the bimetallic strip, and the spring is somewhat stretched. So if this were a cold start, it would be allowing a vacuum to pass through the open door. One of the tests recommended in the service manual is to measure the resistance of the coil. And here I've got a cheap ohm meter, and I've got the 2 leads connected. And the resistance that we're measuring is currently almost 51 ohms, 50 ohms. And according to the service manual, it should fall within 39 to 59 ohms. It doesn't specify at what temperature. Now I've got a 12 volt DC power supply here. We're just going to hook that up, and we're going to watch the idle air control valve in operation as it would be if the truck was just started and running. Now we've got power connected to it, and we're going to watch for a period of time as the bimetallic strip heats, and that will allow the spring to pull farther and close the door, cutting off the vacuum. This will take several minutes. So it's been about 1 minute, and you can see that the door has closed and the bimetallic strip has moved considerably closer to the stop here, and it's still going. We're going to leave it on, see what happens. It's difficult to see unless you have the right angle with the camera, but the bimetallic strip a couple minutes later has now moved quite a bit farther to the side. It's not yet all the way to the stop, but it has moved quite far. Now, if you're wondering what the water ports on the control valve do, the water ports are there just to allow it to know the difference between a hot engine and a cold engine. Otherwise, every time the engine was started, it would it would run through the entire cycle of heating and bending that bimetallic strip, and then when the engine, when the power was cut, the strip would go back to its normal position, its cold position, and it would have to go through the entire movement cycle one more time when the key was turned on. Now, after about 4 or 5 minutes, you can see that the bimetallic strip is almost on the limiter all the way to the left, and at this point, you know, the engine would be quite a bit warmer, and the vacuum through the valve would be shut off. A couple more points on the adjustment on the back of the valve. This is a 7mm nut, and the adjustment isn't a turning adjustment. You loosen the nut, and then there's a slot beneath the washer, so you're moving it, sliding it in the slot very slightly, about 1/4 of an inch of adjustment, maybe less, and then you lock down the nut again. So it's not a turning adjustment, it's a sliding adjustment. But that adjustment controls where the stop is and where the port is in relation to the door. You want to start out at room temperature, as the manual shows, with a slight opening of the door. One more note: if you have yours open and your spring is broken or damaged or lost, they look very, very similar to Chevrolet distributor ignition springs to me. So that might be one source for a similar spring. I hope you found this video helpful. Let's keep those Yodas rolling.